Hello, it's Sunday, the Sunday before Christmas. It's Sunday, December 22nd?
Yes.
22nd. We're here. We're on the platform. This is our last day buying a day ticket to go into the city center of Munich. We're going to the movies. It's raining. It's Sunday morning and it's very quiet. Well, let's just get on it, and if it stops there, we'll just skip the next one. Trains are pretty empty.
For U1 and U2.
A quick note about the direction of train travel on the U-Bahn in Munich. It's just like Paris. To know which direction the trains are going in, you have to know the name of the station at the very end of the line. So not only do you have to remember the name of the station that you need to get off at, you need to know the name of the station that the train ends at. And I don't like that system because that makes you have to remember too many names. I prefer how it is in London and some other places where it's just northbound, westbound, southbound, eastbound. It just tells you a direction. And I just think that's much simpler because you kind of know which direction you need to go in. So I don't like when they do it this way. I just think it's a little bit too complicated. What? Yeah, they are pretty. These are really nice.
Oh, I want to keep one.
This theater is cool. We like it. It's really neat. I just want to say we really liked that movie theater. It's known as kind of a good movie theater for expats because they only show original films. It was a really nice modern movie theater. It doesn't only have one screen.
It's very small.
Yeah, it's small. But it was really cool. Had a great sound system, which was great for that movie because it has such good music. All right, we took the U-Bahn, came up in that elevator there. We're in a really quiet, pretty neighborhood. And we're at the Deutsche Museum Werkzentrum, which I remember that word from Switzerland because we went to a similar museum there. It's the Transportation Museum. So this is part of the Deutsche Museum, but it's in a different location from the main science museum. We chose this one because it was relatively close, just 2 or 3 subway stops from the movie theater. So this will probably be our last museum. They have crepes. There's like a little mini Christmas market festival. And a giant snail. This is really cool. There's all sorts of vehicles. If you choose to come here, do not make the mistake that we just did. So this is Hall 2. I'm in Hall 2 and I'm on the upper level. And we didn't come up here before because we didn't think there was anything really up here. Maybe just a little, like to view things from above or something. And we didn't realize that there's a hall across this glass walkway. And we had finished all of Hall 1 and all of Hall 2 and then we left because we thought we had seen everything. And then as we were outside walking over to the other building there, we realized, oh, that's Hall 3, and we didn't see Hall 3 because we didn't know how to get there. And then it started to storm. It started to rain, and then it started to hail, and there was a huge gust of wind, and then it started to just blow up. My umbrella blew inside out, and we got completely soaked, and everybody was running back for the entrance, and so we ran back inside, had to wait in line. And also when we left, we saw that there was a coat room with lockers and coat racks and a vending machine and some little tables where you could sit and like eat. And we had missed all of that when we came in. And so this time now, especially because our coats are soaked now, we hung up our coats. And I mean, Megan and our pants are wet and stuff. And so we came back in and I showed them our receipt and they remembered us. And they said, yeah, go ahead and go to Hall 3. Because I said, we missed it. And I had to ask how to get here because we didn't know how to get here. So you have to go upstairs. There's stairs on each end of this platform. And then there's also an elevator or a lift right here that you can take up to. So now we're gonna go see Hall 3. Okay, so we came in on that end, and that end is kind of wild with little kids because there's a playground. I don't know if you can see the top of, there's a slide right here, and then we walked across on the top. And now we're sitting kind of in this little auditorium where they must put on some kind of presentations sometime. And we're just, there's actually a severe storm warning or a severe storm warning. And so, but that's supposed to end within an hour. So we might just sit here actually until that's done because we don't want to go back out in that weather. But this is a nice museum. It's definitely smaller than the one we went to in Switzerland as far as a transportation museum, but it's still neat. There's a lot of stuff to look at if you like transportation and vehicles and stuff. It's well done.
Take it all to put on your asparagus. Can I put a little bit on my bed?
Take it all?
Yeah, I'm just. For all I know, you can just like
You know
decide to
so
dump it.
well.
This is a lot of potatoes.
Last
We're sharing these two desserts. Yum. It is our last night at this hotel, the Marriott Munich Hotel, and tomorrow all we're doing is switching. We're going to pack up and go back to the airport, and then we're staying one night at the Hilton Munich Airport, which I will make a room tour there for you, but we're not doing anything else in Munich tomorrow because we have to go to bed early tomorrow night and get up very early for our flight on Christmas Eve. We're flying home on Christmas Eve. I just wanted to really quickly go through what we thought was our favorite or least favorite or best and worst things about our visit to Germany. Wasn't going to film this tonight, but I actually really like how my hair looks. It's so pretty and curly here, and also the color of my hair has not looked this good since I was like a teenager. And I really think it's something with the water. I totally am dreading actually going home and my hair isn't going to look good again because I think our water where we live on the well water we're on is terrible. So that's probably one of my favorite things about Germany has been whatever it is in the water here that makes my hair obviously so much healthier and curlier and bouncier and the color so much better. There's something about it. I don't think it's just the shampoo. I think it's actually the water. My other favorite thing, this is going to sound really random, and it was mainly on the U-Bahn system here in Munich, is escalators that go both directions and stop when nobody's using them. And then like when you step on it, whether it's at the top or the bottom, it just starts going in the direction that you need it to go. So they're singular escalators for both directions, and they are, you know, user dependent. So they just sit still unless somebody comes along and steps at the top or the bottom, and then it goes in the direction you need it to go. I think that is genius. I realize there is one place I've seen this before, and I just didn't think about it at the time because a lot of people were using it, and so I wasn't paying attention. The one place I've seen that type of escalator before is on Royal Caribbean's Oasis class ships. When you go down to get off the ship at a port of call, those escalators on the ships are the same way, because when you come back on the ship, they're going the other way and they go up and they start moving when you step on them. Ben actually said something about it when we stepped on it when we got off the ship when we were on Utopia this season, August. So that was one of my favorite things. And then I think my other thing that I thought was the best, I liked the Christmas markets. I thought the Christmas markets were really pretty and delightful and fun. And also, I would say all of the history. I'm a big history buff, as you know, and I really enjoyed learning about and seeing all the history. Now, there is something unique about history, though, in historical architecture, because I'm also a huge fan of historical architecture, here in Germany, and that is that almost everything you see has been reconstructed. Is that the word I should use? Yeah, like restore, like they had to build it again to look the way it used to. Even historic buildings. because they were almost all destroyed by bombing during World War II, which is really sad, actually. But they've done an extremely good job of restoring a lot of historical things. But just even like art that we saw and things like that and all of the history stuff, I really liked. I would say that the two worst things for me, one was German people yelling at me in German and making me cry, literally. And my having, most of the time, no idea what they were yelling at me about. It was really upsetting. It really was. It was in a few different cases where people working in situations, and these were like customer-facing, tourist-facing situations where German people were literally yelling at me and something in German that I couldn't understand, speaking too fast for me to understand. It was just scary and upsetting and distressing. Along with that, I will also say, even though we realize it makes sense, it was a little challenging that so little is in English here, especially when we had delays on transportation or there were signs and the signs weren't in English. It was challenging. We know some German, but I could read quite a bit and stuff like that. But when they're making like announcements and stuff, when there was a delay and they would only make the announcement in German, they speak too fast and we couldn't understand what they were saying and we didn't know what was going on. So that was really frustrating. And so there's a lot less English spoken here than you would expect. Switzerland, we realized, made sense. Everybody spoke English in Switzerland. Everybody spoke English in the Netherlands, but not in Germany. A lot, I would even say most of the people don't speak English or don't even know any English. So that was challenging. But we realized, like in Switzerland, it's the global center for banking and stuff like that. So English is very commonly spoken. And then the last thing I would say that was kind of a worst for me was the food. The lack of restaurants, affordable restaurants, healthy food, and variety of food. There was a strange lack of variety of food. We got better at finding places to eat in the last few days. But for a lot of the trip, we really struggled with food and finding good places to eat. So that was very challenging. I'm going to ask the kids what they think.
So one of my favorite things was also the Christmas markets. I really thought they were super magical and like I knew vaguely what they were going to be like when we came here, but coming up upon them and actually experiencing them the first time was really cool. But another thing that I also thought was really cool to experience for the first time was the vast amount of historical architecture and like the churches and the paintings we found within the churches. I thought that those were very interesting to visit and I feel like I learned a lot about them, like both art history and German history, even just through visiting things like churches and museums.
Cool. Okay, and what were your least favorites or worst things?
My least favorite things were definitely the lack of food. Just because I feel like that really struck us all.
Yeah.
And it made the trip pretty... It made...
I think food and eating is one of our favorite things about traveling.
Yeah.
And so when we have challenges with food, that's really a bummer.
It's a bummer and it just makes the trip a little less enjoyable because we're not doing the greatest if we're hungry and we can't find a place to eat.
Yeah.
We're not having as much fun. But also I always really like trying new food from a new country we visit, and the food I tried that was like of local German origin, I just really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a bummer. I did like the desserts.
Yeah.
The German desserts were really good, and you can see that like in our Teos Lounge and Bar video.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really like the main dishes.
Yeah.
And there's too much meat.
Yeah, there is a lot of meat. Did you have another least favorite?
I did have another least favorite. I also just did not like... I mean, this isn't anyone's fault, but it shocked me too much that not a lot of people spoke English and that there isn't a lot of English accessibility, which, I mean, makes sense and it's fine, but because I wasn't expecting it, it was just startling to... It felt like I was kind of lost.
Yeah.
in a lot of places, like with the announcements on the trains and reading
Right.
the menus, which got kind of overwhelming.
What was your favorite and least favorite thing about Germany?
Walking.
You liked walking everywhere? Ben tends to like that about Europe in general. Like that we walk more.
Not really that much healthier.
Ah, he would. Yes, he's
Yeah.
commented on that. Yeah. Okay, thanks, bud. Health and fitness and eating well is really important to Ben. He's a runner, and he was disappointed by how much less healthy it is here than he thought it would be. I mean, obviously in any European city you're walking more, but there was more driving than he was expecting, and also the food was not healthy like he expected, and he's like, it's so carb heavy and so much beer consumption. I meant to put that in the things that surprise us video and I forgot. We were talking about how small, although the place we ate tonight was better.
Yeah, it was.
And the movie theaters were okay. And McDonald's was fine. They gave you normal drink sizes that we're used to as Americans. Still no ice though. No ice anywhere in any drinks. The only beverage that you'll see that they give you in large glasses is beer. The beer glasses are humongous. So they're consuming a lot of beer, a lot of alcohol. Alcohol drinking seems to be a really big thing here. I mean, I would say, well, that makes sense. There's a lot of German immigrants in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is very German immigrant heavy. You know, like that's where a lot of our ancestors came from. And so that makes sense that Wisconsin is the drunkest of the states of the United States. We're very well aware of this. Living there, we don't like it. We don't drink alcohol. So we don't enjoy that part of Wisconsin culture. And Germany is that way a lot. There's a lot of alcohol culture here. And we don't like it. So, but other than the bike use, it wasn't really much more healthy than at home. So I understand what Ben kind of means by that. Although I would still say as a whole, people are thinner than Americans even in Germany. But maybe because they don't have anything to eat. I don't know. But yeah. So something is better that they're staying thinner. I guess one more positive and one more negative for me that I thought of that aren't necessarily just Germany dependent, but these are kind of positive and negative things for Europe overall, but we're definitely present in Germany. One is such good, excellent public transportation. Such far superior public transportation options here than we see in the United States. That's one thing I really, really like about Europe. And then one negative thing is the smoking. The smoking is just, it's alarming. And here in Germany, they still have cigarette vending machines. They had one out by the door at the restaurant where we ate tonight. And Megan was looking at that. She'd never seen one before. Now, obviously, when I was a kid in the United States, cigarette machines were everywhere. And I remember when they passed that law that you could no longer have cigarette vending machines. And, you know, you had to be carded and they had to get it for you behind the counter and everything. You could just buy them yourself. And then they couldn't have them in billboards and TV advertising and stuff. And that was a whole big deal when that became a law in the United States. But here in Germany, smoking is still very prevalent. It's not as bad as in France. But a lot of people here still smoke straight out cigarettes. I did see a few people vaping too, but
There's even a cigarette hotel vending machine there.
is there? Oh yeah, there is.
There's one in our hotel.
Downstairs in our hotel, there's a cigarette vending machine. Yeah. So a lot of people still smoking here. So if you've, you know, I mean, I grew up where you could smoke on airplanes and in hospital. Well, could you smoke in the hospital? I don't know, but you could smoke on planes. You could smoke on Amtrak. And when I used to go around the country with my dad on Amtrak, I basically grew up living in a cloud of secondhand smoke. I don't think it bothers me as much as it bothers them. If I think about how it's affecting my health, it bothers me. But I guess I'm used to what that's like to have cigarette smoke all around you. And so it doesn't but it really bothers them. So if you're not, if you're from the United States and you're younger than I am, you grew up when cigarette smoking wasn't all over the place, it's going to bother you because it's a lot. It's all over the place. So we hope those things were helpful to you. Those were our best and worst or favorite and least favorite things that we thought about our time in Germany. If you've been to Germany and you agree with these or you have some different ones, let us know in the comments below. We'd be curious to hear what you thought. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day and safe travels.